between everything in the world. There seems to always be an order of operations to any simple task. For example, if I plan to take a shower, I think to myself, I should do some chores first so that I don't have to clean something dirty after I've cleaned myself. And if I'm going to vacuum, let's say, I need to pick up my shoes and my clothes so the floor is clear. Then I might as well throw in a load of laundry while I'm at it. And I would like to wash my bedding too. However, I should do that before I vacuum. I also want to wash the pajamas I slept in, which I'm still wearing, so I'll have to wait to start the laundry until after I finish vacuuming and before I get in the shower. I'll also have to run the washer on the cold cycle then, so I can still take a warm shower. ... As you may have noticed, the simple task of taking a shower has completely snowballed into something that means a lot of different things. This is because throughout my life, my brain has associated the implication of taking a shower with other tasks and requirements which make sense to me and my values. I feel that there is a common phenomena of our actions and objects being more meaningful or complex than how they appear. Our routines and patterns seem to be represented through the arrangements of objects in our environments. In his book On Trails, Robert Moore examines the social, cultural, and ecological significance of trails in our modern and historic worlds. Trails, by definition, are evidence of repeated patterns performed by living beings over time. Through his study of trails, Moore alludes to the idea that just by being alive, we are designing. Our breath, our movements, our patterns directly and indirectly design the world around us. Moore brings the concept of designing into a holistic light that incorporates the evolution of the entire world through the hands of many generations of people and other living things. So, if we take another look at what my personal concept of taking a shower means with this in mind, it becomes more obvious why I associate certain objects or actions with the concept of taking a shower. Somewhere along the line, I was taught by my family and my experiences what should be done when and what objects represent the pathway I can take to accomplish these associated tasks. So let's talk about objects. An object is a physical manifestation of a point of intersection between a series of invisible networks and systems. These intersections hold objects in existence at a specific position in space and moment in time. Sort of like a bead sewn onto a tapestry, if the tapestry was three-dimensional. When we interact with these objects or beads, we affect the entire tapestry because the nature of a tapestry is the sum of many interwoven threads. In other words, every decision and movement we make as individuals influences the overall image on the tapestry, or in this case, the nature of our reality. Take a plastic cup, for example. The cup is a result of the interaction between dining culture, fabrication technology, plumbing systems, our biological need for water, intelligence, design for efficiency and accessibility. It is adaptation and capitalism. It is art and material exploration. In this theory, living and non-living things are distinct from each other. Inanimate objects are bound to their place on the tapestry, while living beings like us have the ability to move throughout the tapestry and also reposition the inanimate objects. On top of this ability to rearrange and design the world, us humans have also been bestowed with the gift of consciousness. So it occurred to me that if the hypothesis of being able to design our reality through our everyday interactions and collective patterns is true, then the world we dream about might not be that far out of our reach. But still, we must ask, if it is so possible to shift our paradigm, why hasn't it happened yet? Why doesn't our reality match our needs and desires? Well, for example, the plastic cup is designed to be thrown away. From the very beginning of its existence, the cup is intended to become trash. We have deemed this item unworthy of existence at the inception of its design, even though it can take between 1,000 and 2,000 years to decompose. Our learned value and understood purpose of the disposable cup is completely misaligned from the plastic material with which it's made. This sort of consumeristic behavior that ignores the cyclical patterns of the natural world is what's leading us towards self-destruction at a very high speed. To begin to figure this out, I think we can benefit from turning to design theories for guidance, specifically systems-oriented design. In his book Designing Complexity, Birger Seveldson clarifies systems-oriented design practices and states that one of the key pillars to understanding complex issues is that everyone involved in the system at hand needs to be on the same page and needs to have equal input. I admit, involving everyone might sound like an impossible concept when it comes to getting our world back on track, but it is essential. So my question is, how do we get every human on the planet to realize that everything is interconnected? How do we get everyone to believe that every cup matters? One of the main tools used in systems-oriented design practices is gigamapping. This interactive practice extensively engages all collaborators in a project to draw, write, and visualize information in a large paper format. This analog technique provides record-keeping during multi-layer conversations that may happen over an extended period of time, and it also helps all parties involved to understand the extent of the problem or system that they are examining. This practice of collective visualization often reveals areas where attention and repair is needed in a system. In his book, Information Visualization: Perception for Design, Colin Ware reminds us that our brains are constantly collaborating with our environment. Perception is inherently linked to decision-making by the information perceived from the patterns around us. Colin also talks about the orientation of data structures and how visualization allows the perception of unanticipated, emergent properties, and how the perception of a new pattern can often be the basis of a new insight. So when something can be visualized, more knowledge and patterns may become available just through observing its physical nature. Familiarizing ourselves with systems thinking can help us visualize our everyday objects within the systems in which they are embedded. This practice will aid us in understanding the interconnectivity of the world. We can benefit from the gigamapping mindset by imagining how something as separate as a toothbrush in Turkey might be related to an alpaca in Peru. In 1785, chemist Antoine Lavoisier discovered that matter cannot be created or destroyed. That means every material, object, or substance we interact with was once something other than it is now, and it will most likely become something else in the future. The things we interact with are not just things. They are portals that connect us to each other, to our past, and to our future. And yes, I'm talking about things like lamps, sandwich wrappers, and shovels. On the other side of every object, there are thousands of other people. There are millions of other species. We must move through the world with empathy and interact with every object as if it were alive, because truly, it's not so far from the next living thing. If we can engage consciously with design theories in all contexts of our lives, I believe we can gracefully guide the future towards our goals. Collectively, our repetition of patterns creates the structure of our world, so we must individually do the actions that align with what each of us desires, so that authentic patterns can naturally form and conceive the future that we want. I believe our world will heal as a symptom of us following our hearts. The planet will continue to turn, and things will happen whether we participate or not. So we might as well try to design a world in which we want to live. My final message to you is make your portion of the tapestry beautiful and design responsibly.